Shut it back. Words of a faint, something like a bat. Well, I want your love, call me when you can. Girl, going up, going up.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to do another wheel to pick our Pokemon for this cup. And we're naming this one the Wheel of Life because I guess it should be like Wheel of Beasts because it's the Ferocious Cup. And we're gonna go ahead and get started with this one right now. And I have PvPoke pulled up on the other monitor because I don't necessarily know all of the typings and names of all of these Pokemon. So let's get to it. So I think we're hoping for some of the Eevee family here. Let's see what we get. We get Vaporeon. Oh my god, that's... I don't know even what to say. Vaporeon, really good. I believe it's in the top 5 on PvPoke right now, so that's awesome. Let's go ahead and get the second team. Or the second Pokemon for the team. And we have a Alolan Raichu. You know, pretty good. I think in this cup it's going to want to have Charm, I believe. Actually, probably wants to use Thundershock. The new Thundershock from the original, from the patch just a month or so ago. Or I guess it's only been a few weeks. But so we'll see what movesets and all at the end of all this that we want to use. So let's get our third Pokemon. And we have Girafarig. So Girafarig's going to have that psychic damage, but it's also going to have normal typing, so it's going to be good against ghosts, as we've known or seen in the last cup, the Sinister Cup. And actually, I believe we got Girafarig on our team in that cup for the Wheel of Sin. So that's great that we won't have to make a new Pokemon for this. Awesome for me not to use any or TMs, because actually I have 0 charge TMs right now, so yikes. Fourth Pokemon coming up is Raikou. So I actually have a Raikou from the Rainbow Cup. So I won't have to use the 100,000 Stardust or anything like that either. So that's awesome. I believe we have Wild Charge and Shadow Ball on there, along with... I don't know what the fast attack is. I guess we'll find out at the end of the video as well. Actually, I have it pulled up. So it's Thundershock. Awesome. And the fifth Pokemon from the Wheel of Life is going to be Ninetales. So let me check something real quick. So I believe that's Alolan Ninetales, because Ninetales is not a part of this cup. Unless it is. We'll check. But I also think Alolan Ninetales is pretty good in this cup. No, Ninetales would be a part of this cup. So this looks like it's not Alolan Ninetales. This is just regular Ninetales. I don't know how good that's going to be. We don't have a Ninetales already made. I was trying to get one with a Legacy move for Flamethrower in Jungle Cup, but I don't believe we ever got that Pokemon. Although now I'm thinking, we'll see. I may have actually charged one up just because, or powered one up just because I wanted to have the Psyshock. But we'll check that out here in a second. And the last Pokemon we have in the Wheel of Life is Sneasel. So that's going to be an Ice-type Pokemon. I don't know how good it's going to be, but you know... Actually, just judging from the 6 that we have so far, it doesn't seem like we have a bad team here. It looks like we are pretty diverse. We have the Vaporeon, which is obviously going to be really good. So hopefully that'll be enough to carry us. And I think I don't have Last Resort Vaporeon. We'll see. We'll see. But that's going to be our team of 6. Thanks. Or... Alright, so our team that we just finished powering up is Alolan Raichu, Vaporeon, Raikou, Sneasel, Girafarig, and Kanto Ninetales. And I actually think this is a really good team compared to the Wheel of Sin that we got for the Sinister Cup. A couple of really good Pokemon just in all cups pretty much is like Alolan Raichu. We've seen Girafarig used a little bit in Sinister. Vaporeon's really high on the list for Ferocious Cup, and then Raikou's been used before in Jungle as well, and so was Alolan Ninetales. So I think this team, or not Alolan Ninetales, Kanto Ninetales. So I think this team's actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and see how we did. We're going to do 3 best of 3s with 3 different trainers, just to see how it goes. So first match is against Shagna. She's a really good trainer. We started out with Vaporeon, Alolan Raichu, and Kanto Ninetales, and she starts with Luxray. And at the time of this battle, I did not know Luxray was an electric type, I guess. I actually thought it was a dark type, so I didn't shield at all there. And right there, Wild Charge got one shot. So you're gonna see later on in the video, I learned that I need to be shielding Luxray or not having Vaporeon in that matchup. So you got to learn, and that's what we did. So we come in with Alolan Raichu afterwards. We're going to shield, and actually Luxray does have Crunch, which is a dark attack. So Dark's going to be super effective against the psychic typing of Alolan Raichu. So that's not great for us either. Actually ends up taking both of our shields, but we do have a ton of energy since we decided to farm it down. We're probably going to be able to get to 2 wild charges here, if not almost 2, and probably take out both shields from this Lanoon. So we do end up taking, we take 1 shield and half-life to the Lanoon, and then we bring in our Ninetales, which is going to be met with a Kangaskhan as well. So what I noticed on her team just right away out of this is 2 normal types. So normal type's actually going to be playing a big role in this cup. So be on the lookout for that. We do end up getting Psyshock off there, but Kangaskhan's not really taking much damage from us and is going to definitely take us out here with an Earthquake. Wow. So we come back in with Alolan Raichu, but we are way too low in the back anyways, and it takes us out. So second game, I thought, team looked okay. Vaporeon, I just got a note to get it out of there, and I decided to sub in Raikou for the Kanto Ninetales. And she starts out with Pachirisu, so another electric type. So I get a couple hits in there, and then I swap out into Alolan Raichu. Since I have 2 electrics in the back anyways, I gotta bring one of them out. I'm gonna bring out the one that is going to gain the most from having a few fast attacks out there. And that's gonna be Raichu compared to Raikou. So I end up getting this Thunder Punch off. It's a bait, but she's also really low also. I think that Thunder Punch probably takes out the Kangaskhan either way. And I'm going to shield because I know I can get to another Thunder Punch before Kangaskhan gets to any other move, which is Brick Break, I think is the fastest attack that she showed. So she comes back in with Pachirisu, and we're going to be eating up a lot of energy here from it, so that's fine. Our Raichu was going to die soon anyways. I think she was just afraid that we'd be able to get to another Thunder Punch, gain a little bit of a health advantage there. And she swaps in Vaporeon right as we're using our charge move. And so this is the same thing that happened to us in game 1. We didn't shield the Wild Charge, and then boom, one shot. So you got to watch out with your water types. So water's really strong in this cup, but that makes electric really strong as well, because as a counter to the water types. So there's going to be a lot of different choices for water types, and along with that, a lot of different choices for electric types to beat those water types. So we take a Thunderbolt, and we actually survive there, but she gets to another one on the Pachirisu, so we're going to, we don't have any shields, so we just take it. And with this Raikou, we should be able to get to the Wild Charge, which we do, and I don't think this actually takes out the Pachirisu, but it also means that we resist everything that it's going to put out anyways, so even if it gets to a charge attack here, we're not going to get taken out. It's fine. We'll make it to our next charge attack, finish off the Pachirisu. So we end up taking game 2 here. We're even 1-1, so in the best of 3, we just have one more game left here. And I decided to bring in the Giraffe Rig. I keep switching out that third Pokemon. If you notice, it's Vaporeon and Raichu coming in every time. So we need to, or we don't need to change anything up, but I figured Giraffe Rig can come in. It has Thunderbolt. Maybe it takes out a water type along the way. But also if they have Lanoon, which she starts with, we're actually going to be resisting the Shadow Claws, because normal typing double resists the Shadow Ghost damage, and then Psychic takes super effective damage, which 2-1. We still have 1 effectiveness over the ghost types with Girafarig, so it's going to be taking not very effective damage. So she actually ends up swapping out in a Donphan. We swap into Vaporeon. We just farm that match out, and then we throw a last resort here at Luxray. She ends up blocking it, and then gets to a probably Wild Charge here. And I actually decide to shield it because I think I can take that second shield away, which would leave a lot of room for Raichu to get in a ton of damage with Wild Charges. I think that Raichu is really good in the back just because it's super fast charging, and Wild Charge does a very efficient amount of damage. Yeah, so this Lanoon is going to have, I believe, Thunder. Actually, Grass Knot, yeah. So I think Lanoon has Thunder or Thunderbolt and Grass Knot, so both of those are going to be super effective against Vaporeon. Lanoon actually a really good Pokemon in this cup because it's going to be very good against the water types, and has really good coverage, and has Shadow Claw as a fast attack that is going to get you really good damage as well as really fast energy for your moves. So we end up winning the first set of 3, and then in the second set of 3 we're taking on Yo-Yu Yes. It's a player we met out in Pittsburgh when we were out doing the Mirror Regional and Twilight Cup with King. He's a really good player. We actually got to 30-day friendship probably about a week and a half or 2 ago. This is actually our first battle because I just haven't been battling as much as I would like. But for this next cup, I'm really going to go at it hard, so this is where we're starting. We're starting with a team that I didn't even pick, that a randomizer picked, the wheel. So we go up against Lanoon here, and I think that I get to my charge attacks a little bit faster, so I'm just going to be trying to use all the wild charges that I can. And we actually end up taking out Lanoon, which is really good for our Vaporeon in the back. It means we probably don't have to worry as much. And since our Raichu was so low anyways, we're going to be able to maintain a switch advantage here. Problem is, he has a low Eradicate, and my Girafarig in the back is going to be weak against dark types. And Vaporeon, we're going to want that Vaporeon for the Ninetales matchup, but I don't want to just outright lose everything to this Raticate. So I end up throwing a charge attack at the Raticate, and then I know here on Girafarig, I kind of need to take that last shield just so that Vaporeon can do work against the Raticate. Hopefully build up enough energy to take out the Ninetales afterwards. So we do get the shield there. And like I said on this Vaporeon, I'm just going to straight farm it. We have the shield advantage. I just want to get into that Ninetales matchup and throw out double Aqua Tail to take it out. Because Aqua Tail doesn't do a whole lot of damage, even super effective wise. But, you know, if we have 2, we're obviously going to take out the Ninetales. I think it's at half-life right now. Yeah, it's about 55%, and the Aqua Tail is doing about 35-40. So 2 of it takes it out. So we take game 1 here. I really like that team, but since we use the wheel to create a team, I really want to use all the Pokemon that it came up with. Otherwise, you know, what was the point? I need there to be a reason that this Sneasel got powered up. Y'all know what I mean. If you power up something and you give it a second move, you gotta use it because it has to have been worth something, right? So we start out with Sneasel, and then we have Raikou and Vaporeon in the back. Probably should have used Alolan Raichu instead of Raikou, but like I said, we also gave Raikou an extra move, and that cost 100,000 dust, so we kind of need to get our investment in somewhere, right? I mean, we're not going to win all of these games anyways because our team's just randomly chosen, so we don't have the best team comp. Although I do think this team comp's actually pretty good, especially compared to the one we had in Sinister. So our Sneasel gets absolutely destroyed by the charm damage, and I have Vaporeon here in the back, and I get hit by this Grass Knot, so I decide to shield it. And I'm trying to switch out, but I'm going to do a little bit of get a little bit of energy to get stored in the back here, and then I want to get these wild charges off. The problem is we're down shields right now, and I wonder what he has in the back, because he's not switching out. If he hits us with the Grass Knot, it's going to be super effective and take us out. But we're definitely We want to get to the wild charge. No, we're not. It looks like, I assume we're going to get taken out by this grass knot now. So that's really bad for us. We were actually really close to that wild charge, which would have been great because we would have taken out the shield instead of him shielding the Vaporeon. Although we had so much extra energy on the Vaporeon, we are able to get to a second Aqua Tail, take out a shield, and almost take out the Lanoon. And then we take it out with the autos. But we're so low on our health on Vaporeon, it doesn't even matter. And it's a low Eradicate in the back, which has a ton of bulk. We would have never been able to get it out with our fast moves. Even one charge move wouldn't have helped. He would have gotten to his crunch and taken us out, even if we were at like 30% health. So 1-1, we come into the third game here with Kanto Ninetales versus Skuntank. I don't know anything about this matchup. I do know Skunktank's probably running Bite as well as Crunch and Flamethrower, if I were to guess. So I use up a shield and I swap into Vaporeon here. The fact that he hasn't swapped out yet almost leads me to believe that he doesn't have the Lanoon in the back this time. And I just let my Vaporeon eat that Crunch. Oh, he does have Lanoon. He was just holding it back. So I'm not sure that was the best decision or not. I don't know what's in his back line right now. So we end up taking both of the shields here. We are going to lose our Vaporeon in the process, but it's okay. We still have Ninetales and Raichu. And I'm going to shield this since we have that shield advantage, and then I'm just going to try to take out this Lanoon. But we're going to have to use a second Psyshock on it, which isn't great for us because I would have loved having that Psyshock against Skuntank. It would have done the neutral damage and pretty good damage at that. And then I'm just going to fast swap into Raichu. Actually, it looks like I messed up that swap. But it's okay. I think this Crunch is actually going to really hurt us. That did like 95% of our HP. And now we don't really have a lot of life here to work with against a Granbull, which is a Charm user, which is just going to be autoing or using its fast attacks to take us out. Yeah, that Psyshock actually did pretty good, but you know, we didn't have enough health to work with there in the back. So that was our second best of 3. He ended up taking it. And then this is our last best of 3 with It's My Bus. And we're actually in a Ranger lobby together. We just finished our 30-day friendship. I believe we're in round 3 of our first tournament. And we actually haven't versed each other at all. So this is our very first matches up against each other as well. And we get into a good matchup there against Nidoking. Water's going to be super effective against the ground typing of Nidoking. And then he brings in Bibarel. And I don't know the matchups exact, but I'm pretty sure that Last Resort's going to be doing the most. So I've noticed that you're never going to shield that first attack, especially when the typings are the same. So I want to get out, instead of doing the baits up front, I'm just going to do the best moves up front because there's no way he's blocking at full health against another water type. And I use the shield here because I'm pretty sure I can get the shield from him, or I can get the switch advantage to continue. And if he has the Lanoon in the back, we know Girafarig is going to be insane against Lanoon and Nidoking. So he brings in the Nidoking, and I'm going to bring in my Girafarig because I'm going to be doing super effective damage with Psychic versus that poison typing. And I want to use a shield there because I just I'm so close to a charge attack here, and I can take his shield from his other Pokemon, and then I believe I'm just going to swap out into Raichu so that I can preserve that Girafarig Nidoking matchup. And on Raichu, we're just going to be throwing out wild charges as fast as we can. And it actually takes out the Alolan Ninetales there. Just because it's shields down situation. No need to bait, just go for the high damage move. Yeah, and we take game 1 here. So game 2, I'm a little surprised I didn't come in with Girafarig, but it is fine because Vaporeon's going to have a good matchup against Nidoking anyways. I believe that Nidoking is definitely coming back, but I think he'll hide it in the back this time. Especially since he let it last time. You don't want to keep the teams the same, most likely. And he starts with Minun. against our Raichu. So we're both going to be just resisting each other. It's going to be who can get to their fast attacks faster. And I don't know Minun exactly his moves, but I believe he's probably got Thunderbolt Thunder. And we get to that Wild Charge faster. And then he swaps into Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales here. And I decide to go for a Wild Charge because the last time we hit him with a Wild Charge, it did about 60% of his health. And I decide to swap in the Ninetales. Well, I'm not sure it was a great swap in because he actually didn't shield. I think we probably could have stayed with Raichu in that matchup. But I figured Ninetales wasn't going to have a great matchup, so I threw him in, which now doesn't sound like the best idea. But we do have Psyshocks, which are going to be good against the Nidoking. And I overcharge here to make my opponent think that it took that long for me to get to a Psyshock because maybe he's not counting or anything like that. And he shields there because he thinks it's going to take me that much longer to get to another Psyshock. But I actually am very close to a second Psyshock there and beat him to his charge move, making his shield basically like worthless. It didn't matter anyways. He didn't get a charge move off. He didn't really do too much damage to us. And we were able to take it out anyways. So that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're playing your opponent. Maybe go one or two fast moves above what your charge is, just to throw them off their rhythm, or the rhythm that they think your Pokemon's running for their charge moves. And then we had such an advantage from all of that we end up taking him out, just with the Ninetales there. So this team, I think, was really good, especially compared to our last wheel, whatever you want to call it, draft, I guess, whatever it created for our team of 6 here in the new cup. And I'll just go over them in the order that they're listed and then say how I think they did. So Alolan Raichu, I think, was really good at baiting shields. It gets to the charge moves really quick with the new Thunder Shock from the patch a couple weeks ago, I think now, maybe 3 weeks ago. And yeah, really good in the back too with the Wild Charges. Just if they don't have any shields, you just throw out the Wild Charges, tons of damage. Vaporeon, really good in this cup anyways. A lot of the water types are very strong, and of those water types, Vaporeon may be the best. We're very early in the formation of the meta though, so I don't want to say it is the absolute best. I think Bibarel and Suicune have their own merits, but as far as a pure water type, I think Vaporeon's really good. Raikou, I think if we had the other charge move on Raikou of Shadow Ball instead of Thunderbolt, it would have been even better. I think it was okay in these games. I don't think it did very much. I really preferred Alolan Raichu over Raikou, but maybe if I had that extra coverage with Shadow Ball, it would have been even better. Especially since there's no real need for Thunderbolt, since Wild Charge is so efficient, and it's already doing the electric damage super effective. If you need a single Wild Charge is going to take out any of the water types in one shot. Don't quote me on that. I know it does it to Vaporeon because we've seen it happen on Luxray and Raikou. So Kanto Ninetales, I did not know anything about this Pokemon as far as this cup's concerned, but I actually think it did pretty well. It's going to be very good against the ice types, I guess, which maybe isn't going to be too much of a big deal, but a lot of people are going to definitely be using Alolan Ninetales, and Kanto Ninetales beats Alolan Ninetales. Plus it has that Psyshock for a lot of the, I think, like Skunk Tank. It's going to be neutral against Skunk Tank. It's going to be super effective against the poison types in general, like Nidoking, Nidoqueen. So it might have a place, but it seems very niche and very specific. So probably not. But it played pretty decent here, and I think it did well, especially for what we were using it for. Girafarig. We actually got Girafarig in the other wheel from the last cup, and I think Girafarig actually played really well here. Also the same as Ninetales, going to be doing very good against the poison types in this cup, which there are a lot of, and actually going to be pretty decent against Lanoon, especially because it has this overall resists Shadow Claw. So the only way Lanoon is doing damage to Girafarig is going to be through the Grass Knot and the Thunder. Now, the only thing about Giraffe Rig, the Grass Knot is actually going to hit you pretty hard just because you're not as bulky as all the other Pokemon, all the like tier 1, tier 2 Pokemon in this cup. And then last Pokemon was Sneasel. I didn't really give it a fair chance. I played it in one game and it got absolutely destroyed. But I don't think Sneasel is going to be that good in this cup in general. I don't really know how much ice is going to be getting you in this cup. And that's pretty much all I have to say on that. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. It really, if you like it, just give me a thumbs up because it's going to tell me, hey, we really like seeing these Wheel of Cup. And if you want me to do more, that really is something that tells me that you like it and you want me to do more. And go ahead and comment below if you think I didn't give a fair shot to Sneasel, or or if I was playing some of these matchups wrong. We're so early in this cup that I have done a few deep dives and I know some of the matchups, but definitely with some of these Pokemon, especially when they're just random and not necessarily the absolute best, I don't know some of the matchups, most of the matchups, to be honest. So, all right, thanks again for watching.